What's up guys, Yegi here again. So for this set we did a natural cat eye look with a hybrid set. So we used pre-made fans and also classic lashes to create this look. So let's jump in. So here's the before picture of her eyelashes. So one thing we always want to make sure to do is when we choose to do a cat eye is we want to pay attention and make sure that our client does not have droopy eyes. If a client has droopy eyes or downturned eyes, a cat eye is not going to complement their eye shape. So if that's the case, I would choose to do a doll eye or a shifted doll eye versus the cat eye shape. Here is the mapping of the look we're going to achieve. So we're going to do a hybrid set. For that reason, the classic thickness 0.15 and the volume thickness 0.07 are both selected. And we're going to do lengths from 11 to 14 millimeters, going from shorter in the inner corner and longer in the outer corner, as you can see on the mapping set. We are using the Yegi Mega Hold glue, and this is a 1/2 second to 1 second glue, which means it dries really fast. So if you are newer at lashing, I would recommend use a 1 or 2 second glue because it will give you more time to make sure you're going to apply the extensions in the area you want to apply before they dry. We're going to use the 5D pre-made fans, and this is what they look like, and the mink, which are vegan, eyelashes for the classic. Okay, so we're using 0.15, which is the average thickness. If you are newer, I would maybe recommend using 0.18 thickness, as long as it's not more than double the thickness of the natural lash, to protect the health of the natural eyelashes. Because if you do use a little bit thicker, which is 0.18, they will stand out more and look fuller, because initially when you're new, you may not be able to put as many on to start off with since you're working on your timing. So the 0.18s may help you get nicer, fuller sets for your clients so they can keep coming back to you when you're new. And then afterwards you can choose 0.15 or 0.18, sometimes even 0.12 if you want them like softer and thinner eyelashes for the classics. That's another option. Oh, and we are using a D curl on her for both the pre-made and the classic eyelashes for our hybrid set, because she wanted them extra curly and not just the average curl. So if she wanted more of an average curl, I would have done a C curl, but since she does want them curly, I'm going to do a D curl. Oh, I also want to mention right now, it is actually my colleague, one of my colleagues, helping me apply the physical eyelashes just to save me some time. But I do also want to use it as an opportunity to go over a few little different techniques that she does compared to what I do most of the time, and that you can try and see which one you prefer. See, for example, she starts off with applying the volume pre-made fans first. I usually start off with putting my classics first, and I also always work on one eye at a time. Like, this is most of the time. Sometimes I do jump around, but for her in this video, you'll see also she's working on both eyes. She'll put a little bit on the right eye, then she'll jump back and put a little bit on the left eye. So for people who like to go back and forth between eyes, the reason they do it is because they think that they can make them more full, more even like that. But for me, as long as I know I'm applying it on every lash and I'm paying attention how much I'm applying, then I do get them very even if I'm just working on one eye at a time, and that helps me save time. And also, you see she's kind of working on just the outer corner first, and then she kind of jumps around after, or she does the outer corners and then the inner corners, which you'll see, and then she starts jumping around. But for me, again, I prefer to jump around from the beginning, because I do feel like I can more evenly distribute the eyelashes, again, for time's sake, and also for them to fully dry or dry better before I put another extension right next to it. Again, it's just preference. You can do it either way. The glue does dry pretty quickly, and you can just go right next to each other, but again, it's just a preference. Also, you can see right here when she's working on the outer corner of the left eye, she is a little bit struggling to get that angle right with the isolation and the way she's placing it. And what can really help with this is literally by just tilting her head a little bit to the left. And you really see or notice the difference when you do it, right? So see how it's kind of harder to get that corner. It takes her a few tries, and even the isolation, you can see the tweezers angle is not perpendicular to the lash line. It's kind of in her way, so she can't really isolate well. But if she were to tilt the client's head and also maybe shift her chair where she's directly behind the eye and her tweezers are perpendicular to the lash or where it's growing out of, then it would be a lot easier to isolate and apply that outer corner. You can brush the eyelashes as you're going when you're applying, so you can see how they're sitting. So if anything is sitting off, you can take it off or replace it, okay? But do not over brush. I would say probably throughout your whole process, you should only brush them about like 5 times the most. Sometimes when we over brush, we do get in the way of how the glue is curing, and then they don't last as long, or they sometimes might get stuck together too, depending on what glue you're using or how much glue you're using. And if you haven't noticed, we are very geared up in this video for COVID, so if COVID numbers are going up around you, definitely use the gloves, use the shower cap, change your towels, be extra sanitary. All of that will help to avoid spreading the virus and protecting you and your clients. One other thing that I would do is, you see the under eye patches, she just used under eye patches and the clear tape on top. I would recommend as much as you can, because it does help for you to see the natural lashes better. With the contrast of the white tape, I would use the white tape, because some of our baby lashes, if we look, we can't really see too clearly when we're isolating. Sometimes it looks like there's a few on there, right? But when you put that extra 2 layers of white tape over the under eye patch before the clear tape, it does give a better contrast, and then it's easier to isolate. And again, this is something you have to try so you see the difference, but we do have a full video of how to tape properly, and we can link it below. One thing that she is doing, and I do recommend, is she's applying on the longest natural lashes first, or as much as she can in certain areas. It is a lot easier to apply the natural lashes that are longer, to apply the extension on those first, because then you can move that eyelash with the extension out of your way. Since it's longer, it's easier to grab out of your way and then to apply on the nearby little baby hairs, okay? But now I do also show a technique with taping in layers, or using the under eye patch to tape up to make isolation easier, and we will link those 2 videos underneath too, so you guys can watch those too. I think it's a great technique to have if you're having trouble isolating, if somebody has layered eyelashes or too many eyelashes in one area, including longer and smaller or shorter baby lashes. Now we're gonna start applying the classic ones, okay? So once pretty much throughout the eye, once the volume ones or these pre-made fans are applied throughout the eye and they all look evenly distributed, about like 50% of the natural eyelashes, that's when we're gonna go back in and apply the classics in between, okay? So this is a 50-50 hybrid set, which means half, exactly 50%, are volume lashes, which in this case are the pre-made fans, then the other half are the classics, the 0.15 mink eyelashes, okay? And the lengths are the same for the classic and the volume, right? They're just mixed in there to get a hybrid look, which is a little bit fuller than a classic and a little bit more natural than a volume. One other thing that she does and some lash artists do that I'm actually not a huge fan of, and I think it does get in the way of retention, is when you kind of wipe or dab your glue on the under eye patch. So if you're in the habit of doing this, try not to do that. It does kind of get rid of some of the glue from your extension, and for some reason it ends up getting in the way of your retention. It just doesn't hold or bond as properly as it should. So when you're dipping it, just wipe the extra on the glue rim and that's it. Like, don't dab it anymore on the under eye patch. And you'll notice she does that here and there, but it's just a habit that we all should try to break. Now we're gonna do our last brushing and drying the eyelashes. So you want to make sure to dry them really well, and also maybe use a super bonder to really lock in the eyelashes and the glue, so then your client can go out and about and do whatever they need to do and nothing will get in the way of their eyelash retention. So here is the final before and after results. Beautiful work. Please let us know if you have any questions. We'll be more than happy to assist you, and let us know what you think of this mapping or this formula.